Welcome to Swiss Gold Global, a company founded in 2008. It's a Swiss company. CEO is Australian Bill Rowell, and the company has been successfully operating for almost 9 years out of Zurich, Switzerland. Swiss Gold Global has a strategic partnership with the world's #1 Bitcoin mining operation, that is Genesis Mining of Germany. And Swiss Gold Global is also a licensed distributor from the very beginning for Argo Heraeus of Switzerland, which is arguably the world's #1 LBMA accredited referee refiner, and therefore one of the most prestigious companies ever on the planet for precious metals refining and distribution. For precious metals, it's fairly straightforward. They are not securitized assets, and therefore they are physical and something real. And unlike shares, ETFs, and funds that deal in gold, physical metal is actually a tangible asset. And unlike popular belief, there is no qualification required whatsoever in order to recommend the purchase and personal savings of gold. You do not need to be qualified in any way to recommend gold and silver as a savings instrument. It's also a non-banking asset because it is ultimately property and it is not linked to the debt-laden banking system at all. Cryptocurrency, on the other hand, is a fairly new concept in the world. It's only 8 years old. It is totally unregulated, which is one of its actual strengths, because no regulator can then interfere with the pure law of demand and supply. Also, cryptocurrency cannot be easily faked, unlike printed dollars or pounds and euros. So there is no risk of identity theft, and there is no risk of fraud within the currency, although hacking is possible on the wallet level, but the currency itself is far more secure than actually even printed paper money. Another advantage of cryptocurrency is that it is decentralized. So no one government, authority, or group of people have total domination over its very existence. And this is in fact a strength of cryptocurrency. Now, precious metals are physical property, and by law they are similar to land or any residential or commercial property asset. They're also inheritable, so you can plan generations ahead through the ownership of precious metals. And they're highly liquid. You can literally sell anytime in most places through any open source, and you're able to realize the equivalent in paper currency if you must. Cryptocurrency, on the other hand, is also a digital property. It has real value, but it is simply digital in nature. And although not physical, it still has many of the properties of a physical asset. It is counterfeit proof. As I mentioned before, it simply cannot be duplicated. Somebody cannot just create a computer program, because the very existence of cryptocurrency is verified by all the other users. So each coin created in cryptocurrency is virtually proof of counterfeiting. It's also super liquid. It's even more liquid than gold or silver. It's very easy to transfer across nations and continents, and it is very easy to make a payment within nanoseconds when the system works seamlessly. Now, both precious metals and cryptocurrency are critical to hold because they are the only available alternative that both qualify as an asset as well as a currency, and yet they're not linked to the worthless pieces of paper printed by any one government. And they both operate and exist outside the crumbling banking infrastructure, as we all know, is on the verge of collapse. Every year there is some scary story coming about, and both precious metals and cryptocurrency operate outside of the banking system, which we know to be a highly corrupt and unfair system. And both act as a store of value. because you can access their value immediately. You can swap them for something else of value very efficiently and reasonably quick, and you have always access to them, provided you are able to keep them safe and secure. Now, the precious metals side with Swiss Gold Global operates inside the London Bullion Market Association chain of integrity, and this is very, very critical because all the partners involved are part of the chain of integrity and yet separate and away from the banking system. These are debt-free companies that form part of the chain of integrity. So Argo Heraeus, being the refiner, is already a referee refiner with the LBMA. They are actually part of the creation of this entire chain of integrity. They are a dominant force in the chain of integrity. Loomis International is the safe storage facility. Even governments are happy to store their gold with Loomis in Zurich. And that's the facility used by Swiss Gold Global for Argo Heraeus precious metal products. FedEx is the insured doorstep delivery agent should a member choose to have their precious metals delivered home. And the chain of integrity applies all the way up to the doorstep. Once you've signed for it, it becomes your property in your possession, and it then leaves the chain of integrity at your doorstep. We have two choices of storage, both Zurich and Dubai, and both are covered by this chain of integrity. For Bitcoin cloud mining, we have this additional benefit with Swiss Gold Global, where you can join 100% for sake of passive income alone, and it is paid to you every single day to your external wallet. And when it comes to your external wallet, that in and of itself is your evidence of how much you're getting paid according to the mining capacity that you have acquired at the beginning. And it's very easy with our system to keep compounding your mining capacity. And if you understand the miracle of compounding, you will very soon find that your initial capital has been increased significantly using regular and systematic compounding of your mining power. Now, the mining packages available with Swiss Gold Global are at the same cost as with Genesis Mining. So you don't need to open a separate Genesis Mining account. What is available for Genesis customers is available also for us at exactly the same price because of that strategic partnership. Swiss Gold Global has chosen not to white label Genesis Mining under their own brand, but are in fact openly telling you that it is Genesis that provides the power. Unlike many other networks, it is directly from Genesis Mining, and we don't conceal this fact, and it is available at the same cost, so there is no concerns about the pricing differences and about how much output you should expect to receive. There are low barriers to entry. Just from $30 onwards, you can start mining. You can buy the biggest package at about $1,950, and anytime you choose, you can go back into the system and keep adding as it suits you. And you can pay using credit or debit card, PayPal, even Bitcoin through the BitPay system, Bankwire if you wanted to fund your account first and then decide how you wish to proceed, and also Payza. And all of this is available in a single login. So this is what happens in the single login free account. You can join as a miner and collect Bitcoin in your external wallet, which is paid to you daily, and the amount that is paid to you can be verified using any independent Bitcoin mining calculator. You can then send it to, or simply keep it in your external wallet, or choose to send your Bitcoin elsewhere for purchases of goods and services, or simply send it back into the system for compounding purposes and to keep increasing your mining power in order to keep increasing your overall output in the future. You can also use Bitcoin and fund the purchase of gold or silver. And in the same login, you also have a default saver account where you can set up a regular savings account for gold or silver. You can acquire gold and silver at wholesale prices, and at the same wholesale price, you can sell it back almost immediately. And all you get for this is Swiss certified, is the only metal we provide. 9.999.9 gold is a fineness gold is the precious metal grade, and nothing less than that. And then again, of course, once you have accumulated gold and silver, whether you pay for it by dollars or whether you use Bitcoin to convert it into metal, either way, you can choose to leave it in storage or have home delivery, or simply transfer it account to account. So a parent may open accounts for children and other relatives, for example, and you can simply transfer gram by gram from one account to another account. And if you choose to liquidate any of the gold and silver, you can draw it back out into your bank account using bank wire in dollars. Now, this is why we operate what we operate, because we are in a very unique time in history where everything seems to be a bit of a scam. And if fraud is truly the wrongful or criminal deception intended to result in a financial or personal gain, then we have to question long-held institutions and how they operate. Deposits, for example, in the UK, the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, and in the US, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, will tell you that these schemes are government-backed and your deposits are safe. But when you really question them any further, there are no real assets to protect your deposits in case there is a collapsing domino effect, as it happened with the credit crunch. If that was to happen again, there simply exists no money that will keep your deposits safe in a bank. Similarly, insurance was one of the sectors that needed bailout in the previous credit crunch. And it simply is a system where your payout is not something that the insurance company can pay from its own assets. It's literally other people's premiums. Those who don't make a claim, their premiums are used to pay out your premium, and therefore even insurance is somewhat of a Ponzi scheme. Not to mention then pensions, where you have your entire lifetime savings backed by essentially capital markets, which are stocks, shares, funds, and bonds, and none of them are really backed by anything at all. One shock to the system and everything in collapse, which is why your pension advisor, your pension company, your pension portfolio manager, and the government will never be able to guarantee your pension, simply because they just don't have the assets to back up your pensions. You need to make your own provisions outside the traditional deposit, insurance, and pension sector. And for that reason, we offer a non-banking solution with precious metals and cryptocurrency, both in a single login. Now, if you ask how banks commit fraud, it's very straightforward. They operate a fractional reserve system. For every dollar of deposit you give them, they somehow are able to lend even $10 in loan. They make money and income on the loan interest and give you very little for your $1. Somehow banks can loan multiple times because they are supposedly regulated, but the reality is they simply haven't got the reserves to pay you back when your deposits are at risk. And we have to rely on regulators to keep the system intact and clean, but it is the regulators that approve the entire derivatives business. And if you know about derivatives, there are about $700 trillion worth of derivatives floating around, which is more than 100 times more than the value of the total assets on Earth. So how do they allow legally binding contracts to be traded on exchanges which are highly, highly regulated, but actually backed by nothing other than hot air and promise? And therefore the regulators must be questioned whether they have tolerated and allowed this fraud to take place or not. Similarly, the government, we trust them to take care of us, and yet they take our tax dollars and bail out their friends in the banking system. And when the money runs out, or they can't print anymore, or they can't push a button and create money anymore, they simply dip into your bank accounts and take whatever they like, as it happened in Cyprus, where depositors overnight lost a whole chunk of money because the government needed it, and they just took it from the people. And governments wage war in your name, but they're not willing to somehow write off your debts. We would all be debt free if the governments decided, okay, let's forget everybody's debt. So somehow we become the leverage to a government, and we are the ones trapped in a global debt system. And the government that is supposed to work for us is in fact favoring the bankers and their friends. The same applies to a central bank. They can simply push a button and create trillions and trillions of dollars of money, and there is no effort required in that. The digital money they create in dollars, all these various bailouts and TARPs and fancy names given to quantitative easing type of concepts, are created out of thin air, and there's no effort required on part of any central bank to create that fake money, which we are told is real money just because they say so. And then now the supranationals, such as the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, the Bank of International Settlements, and the United Nations. Under their supervision, the entire planet is in irreparable banking damage. This debt cycle simply cannot be reversed unless it is somehow reset or completely abolished and restructured all over again. The whole world finds itself in a global debt slavery under the supervision of these organizations that have proven themselves to be either knowingly fraudulent or simply too incompetent to actually make any sense of real economics. And for this reason, Swissquote Global operates outside the banking system. The only point of contact is when dollars go in and out of the system, then a bank is required. And both products and services available, which is Bitcoin mining as well as the precious metals, are real assets and the only realistic alternative to printed dollars, euros, yen, and pounds. And yet, although it operates outside the banking system, it's very easy to convert. You can actually hold whatever digital or physical asset of your choice, or both. You can have them delivered, as in case of Bitcoin, can be delivered to your external wallet, and then you can use a cold storage method of keeping it offline, safe in a digital store. You can even liquidate it and flip from one to the other with our system. And there are basically no barriers to doing this. And you are still operating entirely outside the banking system. Your savings are in metals or cryptocurrency. Your income is in Bitcoin mining. And all of that operates without the debt-laden banking system. And we make it very, very easy to access this system. For Bitcoin mining, it starts at just $30, exactly the same price as Genesis mining for 200 gigahash of mining power. And you can buy more anytime you like, and whatever power you buy is a one-time fee, and that is the amount of power that will give you a Bitcoin mining result according to any independently available Bitcoin calculator. You can also use the same system to compound within. You can use your BTC, your Bitcoin proceeds, and buy more mining, or you can leave your Bitcoin as it is and use dollars instead and increase your mining, and you can keep compounding to hedge the value of losing dollars into something that is worth more now as well as in the future. Just by its nature, Bitcoin tends to rise in value as well as in price. This is not the same for US dollars. And you're able to use this within the same system. You can save Bitcoin and flip it into gold and silver anytime you like, or vice versa. As for the gold and silver, it's again very straightforward, starting at just $25 per month. up to 3,000 if you pay by credit or debit card. Anything more than that per month, it's best to send in a bank wire. It'll be more efficient anyway. And you can access gold or silver from as little as 25 a month on a regular basis if you wish to use this as an alternative to a banking savings account, which is at risk of collapse any time. Gold and silver do not collapse. They are physical assets and they belong to you. They will be held in your name according to the LBMA chain of integrity. And for a one-off transfer, you can even buy large amounts of gold. Just send in the wire and let our back office know to anticipate it, and you can make one-off purchases as well, provided you have an account ready and set up with your Know Your Customer documentation approved. If it's an approved account, you can access gold and silver at short notice and have it home delivered or leave it in storage, anyhow you choose. Both Bitcoin and precious metals are accessible to you, therefore, at a very, very low entry cost and daily liquidity and very easy access to your real physical or digital assets held outside the banking system in a secure way in the safest location potentially on earth, which is Switzerland. Thank you for your time. My name is Prem Johal. If you have any further questions, feel free to contact me on my social media channels. Thank you very much.